Welcome to Her Wealth Unscripted. We're your hosts, Susan Jones
and Sara Gelsheimer. We believe financial decisions are most powerful when they're made with intention and grounded in what matters most to you.
This is a space for real conversations about money, life, and the moments that change everything.
Because it's more than numbers, it's the life they make possible. So I wanted to share some of the research that was done. It's been a few years ago, but it was out of the Global Financial Literacy Excellence Center. Say that 10 times. But basically, they gave a financial literacy test to men and women. And there were two versions of the test. So one included, I don't know, as an option, and one did not. And the results were crazy. So women were more than twice as likely than men to choose I don't know when it was available. But when that option was removed, so the women that didn't have that option on the test, their correct answers jumped significantly. So there were multiple questions in there, but one of them, for example, just to give some of the research behind it. So one was on interest rates. And so the group of people that had I don't know as an answer, in that group, 56% of women answered correctly. When that answer was removed, 85% answered that question correctly. So that's just one example within that literacy test where it really showed it was less about the actual knowledge as it was in women's feeling like they actually knew it. So often we really just need to give ourselves more credit.
Yeah. And I think, Sara, that isn't a phenomenon that is only, that we see in investing. I think one of the things that, particularly, if you've ever been a hiring manager or reviewed resumes, you realize and you've seen that oftentimes women, we hold ourselves to a much higher standard in terms of even the jobs we apply for. And so there's been some debate about, different studies, but I think, it's kind of understood that women oftentimes think they have to have all the qualities or all the, qualifications that a job requires in order to even apply for that job. Whereas men oftentimes feel much more confident doing it if they only have, 60 or 70% or even less of the requirements for that job. And so I think, again, it's something that, although we're talking about investing today, it's not something that's solely that we see in that realm. But I think it's a little bit more expanded as well. But I think what's really interesting is that, there's kind of this plot twist that even though women don't feel as confident about investing, that they're actually better investors. And so there's multiple studies. Fidelity is one. UC Berkeley has one. But again, there's many studies that show that women actually outperform men when they're investing by somewhere between like 0.4% all the way up to like 1.8% every year. And so while that might not seem like a huge difference, what we know is that due to the power of compounding, that can really impact returns over a long period of time. And so, it's one of those things like, well, why could that be the case? And, again, I think just what we see oftentimes working with women is that women don't do some of the other things that sometimes we see a little bit more common with men. And so a lot of times, they're not doing that, kind of chasing the next big fad. They don't feel compelled to trade as much, which again, we just know from research that staying in the market, even when there's volatility, usually leads to a better outcome because it's so important to be in the market on some of those key dates when the market goes up. And then, again, they just overall, I think what I've seen is that they're often much more sort of collaborative and they think through their investments, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're more conservative investors, but oftentimes just, what I've seen is that they're oftentimes more thoughtful investors.